Hello and welcome to Dave's Delightful Dishes. And as always, I'm Dave, and it is such a delight to have you visiting me today here in my kitchen. And what a day it is today because I've been challenged. My friend Nino from Sicily was looking at my page, and he said to me, "Hey, you don't have a lot of pasta on your channel," and he's right. So he specifically challenged me to do Bucatini all'amatriciana, which is incredibly simple as far as making it, but there are some ingredients that can be hard to find. So let's check it out. So as I said, the hardest part of this dish is finding the ingredients. Fortunately for me, I make most of them, and the ones that I don't, I do have, being here in New Jersey, I have an excellent selection of Italian stores to go to. So the couple of the main ingredients, and the whole ingredient list is very small, and it's right here. But the main things are guanciale, which is a cured like pork cheek, and pecorino Romano cheese. And for those of you who know me personally, who know I'm actually personally allergic to cheese, don't worry about it. I make stuff with cheese all the time. It'll just be my wife that's enjoying the cheese part. I'll make myself a little piece that doesn't have it in it. And then we need a 28-ounce container of peeled whole tomatoes. And they're going to be plum tomatoes or San Marzanos. As it happens, I grow them in my garden. So I had to make 28 ounces, and I had pre-canned mine. So I just pulled a couple of my jars out, and when you rough chop them. And then a little bit of red pepper flake, and then the bucatini itself, which is hollow. It's like a spaghetti that's hollow in the middle. And everyone I've asked about this has said, yeah, if you're doing a matriciana, you better use this pasta. In fact, the recipe I got when I was looking through trying to find the right recipe, it was Wine Enthusiast had one. This is the best. And it actually described using any other pasta as being iconoclastic. So I found the right products, and we're going to use them. The rest of this is pretty much going to be over here. I've got a pot of water boiling with salt in it, and the bucatini is going to cook for 6 minutes al dente, and we're going to do everything else in the saute pan. The one thing we still need to do, though, is we need to cut this guanciale up. And don't mind my terrible Italian pronunciation. I am not fluent by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm just going off of my best guess and 2 years of Latin when I was in middle school, which helps a lot less than you think when you're trying to speak Italian. So what I have to do is I have to cut these into matchsticks. So I'm going to cut some chunks. And you use up to 6 ounces, but it kind of depends on how much pasta you're making and how much of this you can find. But I'm going to cut about 4 ounces off of this. Just so. And then I'm going to take these strips and I cut them into what I like to call matchsticks. So I'm going to process all this up, and then we'll meet you over at the stovetop. Okay, so I have my large saute pan, and I've got that on medium heat, kind of like medium high. I'm going to put just about a tablespoon's worth of olive oil, maybe a little bit more. And let me get that coating the pan. And now we're going to put in our guanciale. And I apologize, it's difficult not to try to say the word right, but I know I'm messing it up. And we got to take this and we got to render this down, because this cured cheek meat has got a lot of fat in it, which is going to render out. And then between that and the curing and the curing spices, this is going to be most of our flavor. So we got to cook this for about 8 to 10 minutes. Just kind of keep it moving, keep an eye on it. Don't let it burn or get too dark. So I'll get back to you once this is where we want it. So now that this is, as you can see, cooking through, and this took about 6 minutes. You just want to get it nicely browned and everything is rendering out. You can see how much liquid this created. And now I'm going to add my 28 ounces of roughly chopped tomatoes, carefully. I'll put this back to kind of medium-low. I'm going to stir all that together, and I'm going to add about a teaspoon's worth of this red pepper flake. And now we want to let this go for about 6-7 minutes so it can come together on kind of like medium-low heat. And while that's happening, in my boiling water, I am now going to add my bucatini. And that's going to cook in 6 minutes, so I'm going to let that get al dente. And I'll get back to you once everything is ready to combine. All right, so our pasta is done. It is al dente. Our sauce is on low, and it's ready to have the pasta added. So I'm going to take my tongs, and as carefully as I can, just to make less mess for myself, I'm going to bring this into here. Now we don't want to just pour out this water because we're going to need it to finish the sauce. All right, there's all the pasta. So now I have to start incorporating this all together. And we're going to have to add a little bit of this pasta water in here too. But I want to get a little bit, kind of get it mixed together a little bit first. And I like just kind of turning it like this with the tongs. So now I'm going to add a ladleful, which is about a 1/4 cup, give or take, of pasta water. And I'm going to turn this back to medium, kind of middle heat. And we're going to let this continue cooking until the sauce has come together. Right now you can see it's pretty thin, but it's going to thicken up pretty quickly with that pasta water and all this pasta in here. So we'll be back once this is ready. Now on to the last step. You see it's come together, and now we need to add some pecorino Romano. And I am going to grate a whole bunch of this on here. And then I'm going to mix it, and then we'll use some more for topping at the end. And try not to get your hand while you do it. Sometimes that can be difficult, though. Oh. Get back here, you block of cheese. All right, that's a nice little pile there. We're looking for like 1/3 cup. Now I'm going to stir to combine this. Turn my heat off, just let the heat carry over. All right, I'm going to give it just a little bit more cheese, and then we'll head back to the workstation to plate. So now it's probably a good time to tell you this has been about 15 minutes. Maybe a little bit more for prep, just because I did have to because these are my tomatoes, I had to peel them and kind of cut them up. But if you buy a 28-ounce can of peeled crushed tomatoes, they're the same thing. It's just already done for you. You can just pour that right in. But I do like having the chunkiness of using my own tomatoes, plus they're fresh from my garden. So what we're going to do, we're going to take some of this pasta with the tongs. I want to make sure I get some good stuff in it. And if I had those little prongs where I could do a nice spin, that'd be even more authentic, but I don't have a set, so they are what they are. All right. So we got that down on the plate. And my wife tells me, since this is her portion, that there is no such thing as too much cheese. So we're going to add a little bit more on the top here for presentation. In flavor, but also presentation. And depending on how hot they want it, you can serve some extra red pepper flake on the side. I'm just going to give it a little sprinkle over here on the top. And then there's, if you've noticed, there have been tomatoes, but there has been no basil anywhere on this dish. So at the very least, I need to use some as a garnish. And just like that, we have dinner. And my, isn't it delightful? And this is super quick, really easy, and then as long as you can find the right ingredients, it is something you can very definitely do at home. And for my buddy Nino, man, I really hope that this stands up to your high bar. I understand that it's I am not Sicilian and you are, so this is my best effort. Hopefully, I've passed the challenge. And for all the rest of you, if there's something you want to see me make, go ahead down in the comments below and let me know what it is you want me to try. And maybe your recipe might be the next one. Go ahead and check out my Facebook page for Dave's Delightful Dishes, as well as my Instagram, which will be linked in the description, as well as the couple ingredients for this recipe. And you can hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already, and tell your friends. You know, this is a fun time we have here, and I hope to see you all there. But until then, I'll see you at the next recipe.